Hello, Namaskar and Adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan, once more with you from your very own channel Astro Assurance. We have been doing this series of planets in different houses and signs, and we have also been talking about in some specific instances how a planet can become a one giving very good results in certain houses and gives some of its toughest placements in some other houses. So we have been doing this series of planets giving the best results in certain houses and not so good results or toughest results in certain houses. And so we have talked about the best placements of many of the planets and some tough placements also of some of the planets. In the light, we have done the best placements of Ketu in some houses in the horoscope. Today we will be talking about the toughest placements of Ketu in the horoscope. Now firstly, when Ketu gets into any house, it is a planet of negation. So we need to remember that when Ketu will get into any house, it will negate the results of that house. It will challenge you getting results from that house or the best results or better results from that house. Why? Because Ketu has also been described as the dhwaja, as the flag which you have already hoisted earlier, which you have already been there, done that, achieved the results of that house, those areas of that house already. And hence in this particular innings of your life, you may have a dearth of those resources, dearth of good results from that area of that house where Ketu is placed. So keep that in mind, and because of that, Ketu sometimes gives some tough results in certain house and not so tough results in certain houses. And that's why Ketu's better results come in the dushthanas, where Ketu avoids you getting the challenges of the dushthanas. So let's get into the toughest placements of Ketu in the horoscope vis-a-vis where it will give you a dearth of resources from the areas of that house. When Ketu goes into the first house is about your situation in life, your thought process, your ability to be able to get goals, to be able to have a certain standing in society, and to be able to be a person of stature. So when Ketu goes into the first house, it does not negate you the results of the first house, but it makes it tough for you to attain the results of that house unless there is a mass social cause that you are doing for or working for, whether it's in a direct manner or an indirect manner. There should be some contribution that you're making to society at a mass level, and hence sometimes in the lagna or the first house of some big celebrities who have achieved a lot, you may find Ketu in the first house, but you will generally find Ketu in the first house of those celebrities who have a huge mass appeal, but there is also a social context somewhere that is attached, some philanthropic activities they do, or if they are into movies, there is a certain message the movie is sending, or if they are industrialists, there is a certain area of life that they are catering to for masses, making the lives of people comfortable or making the lives of people happy. So there will be some instance where Ketu in the lagna will give you good results. Otherwise, Ketu will make it one of the toughest ways to be able to achieve name, fame, stature when Ketu is placed in the first house. When Ketu goes into the second house being the house of your livelihood, remuneration, your earning, your saving, so Ketu makes it tough for you to save money. Yeah, you may be able to make money, you may have a good remuneration. However, what Ketu does is every now and then when your savings just start to build, start to accumulate, where you see something growing in the bank, that's where Ketu strikes. Ketu makes it not so easy for you to be able to accumulate money. Ketu will give you some reason to spend money. Some sudden thing may come up, some important event may come up because of which you will have to part your ways with your savings, and you'll have to delve into your savings and then spend it for an important event, for an important situation. So every now and then Ketu will not allow you to accumulate resources, allow you to have some good bank balance, and so Ketu will make it tough for you to keep enough money. So sometimes it may so happen that in some of your toughest instances you don't seem to have enough resources, you don't seem to have enough money when Ketu goes into the second house. Ketu may also make you sometimes not think before you say something and shoot out the mouth, as you say, or speech defects also, or not being able to speak clearly not being able to communicate clearly also. Some language deficiencies may also come. There may also be a challenge in your speaking ability, either with the teeth or with the tongue or with the lips. Some lisp may also come for some people, especially when Ketu goes into the second house, maybe in an inimical sign. Now Ketu in the fourth house is about how you may not be able to get enough satisfaction, enough happiness, enough mental peace from the home environment, from the domestic environment. Sometimes Ketu delays you to set up your own domestic life, which means you getting into a settled life with somebody and then being able to pass a long time with stability without the boat being rocked. So generally, either Ketu does not allow you to get into a relationship easily, or even if you get into a relationship, it rocks the boat enough, sometimes even leading to a breakup also, or not being able to continue in the relationship. Ketu really tests you in the Kendra houses, especially the fourth house, because sometimes it also makes you defocused, sometimes even disinterested. Maybe because you have not got the returns from the house that you were expecting when you thought you were contributing so much, when you thought you were giving in so much to the domestic environment, to a settled partnership or a relationship, and you're not getting enough. And so Ketu also detaches you from the happiness of that house, from the attachment towards the house, maybe sometimes even attached to the people in the house. But what good is life if you don't have the peace in your life and happiness in your life? So many times Ketu in the fourth house ends up choosing peace even over happiness, and that's why it is one of the toughest placements in the fourth house. Ketu in the fifth house can also be a tough placement, because the fifth house is the house of finance, money and accounts. So sometimes it disturbs the accounts in such a manner that you find a dearth of money. You're not able to know where your money is going. Somehow you're not able to manage your finances well. You're not able to manage your accounts very well. So money goes in certain directions where you may not have intended to. You're not able to manage your finances well, investments well. You make an investment somewhere and then later on realize I should have put my money somewhere else maybe. So usually investments, or in speculative investments such as in share market or in stocks, Ketu may not give you the best results. Or if you're making an investment for returns, for example, if you're buying a house but for returns rather than staying in it, then to Ketu may detach you from higher profits from that house. So you may find that others may be making more money in the share market, in stock, or in investing in certain venture or in property, but you may not be getting enough from it. It may also keep you detached from your children, which means either you're too busy in your work area, or there is a distance from your children because of which you're not able to give enough time. Or sometimes later in life, children take off on their own and they're so busy in their studies, in their own life, that very seldom are they able to give you time, give you attention. Same thing in the matter of romances also. Ketu may break you. Ketu may give you 2 or 3 breaks in your romances, 2 or 3 heartbreaks, almost detaching you from the idea of romance, thinking that this is not something for me, I want to move away. So many times Ketu in the fifth house may also make people go through 2 or 3 breakups before they settle into a relationship, or settle for something which may be far lesser than what their heart desires, or even in an arranged marriage in the Indian subcontinent. So this is also a tougher placement for Ketu. Ketu in the seventh house, the house of relationship. Ketu here detaches you from the idea of relationship, from the idea of partnership, from the idea of connecting strongly with people. So very few people will be the ones who you can strongly connect as being very close to them. And sometimes in the married life, you feel that you're doing much more, you're giving much more, but you're receiving less. And sometimes the thought processes of both the individuals will be so different, so varied. Many times both of them are looking in different directions. They are not thinking on the same lines, they are not thinking in the same direction. And so the person may get detached from the idea of doing something with the spouse. Even if the relationship is going strong, it may not give you a separation, it may not give you a detachment from the spouse, but it may give you a detachment from what the spouse wants, what the spouse wants to move towards. So sometimes you may just give up and say, okay, you manage things on your own, or you manage the house on your own, or if there is a party, you take up the idea of what to do in the party. I will just help you, because you and I, if we are both participating with our own thoughts, most of us we end up arguing or fighting. So it's better that you take up the responsibility. I will of course contribute, but I may not be an active participant in the activities of the house, in the activities of the relationship. And sometimes you are not so connected emotionally also with the spouse. You may even be in a love marriage, or you fall in love with somebody and get married, but after some time you realize that have I done the right thing, or is this the right person for me, or did I hurry into a relationship without thinking? So Ketu detaches you from the feeling of being in a stable, committed, loyal, happy married life when Ketu goes into the 7th house. Sometimes it may also bring up ego issues, personality differences, also even fidelity issues sometimes in some very inimical signs that Ketu gets placed in, and if there are more doshas connected to the 7th house or the 7th lord. So one of the tougher placements of Ketu is also in the 7th house. When Ketu goes into the 9th house, here a person sometimes may struggle to get good education, may struggle to get into good universities of his or her choice, may struggle to travel abroad, may struggle to work in an arena where the educational qualification is adept, or where the educational qualification has made them adept. Many times the competencies that you require to do a certain job, Ketu may not allow you to take up the educational qualification. Many times people who may drop out of school or college but then still make it big later on because of the competencies they have developed on their own rather than through a qualification, can also be with Ketu in the 9th house. Many times Ketu separates you from the ideas of connecting with gurus, of finding the right gurus, or having less challenges when dealing with gurus or in expertise. So you have to really struggle and work hard to build an expertise in a certain area. And usually long distance travels of such people may either not be coming regularly, or if they do a long distance travel, usually it may not end up to be as profitable as they thought it should be. Sometimes they may also get in challenges with people from different cultures, and they may be more comfortable with people who they can relate to, whose principles and values they can relate to, rather than people who are very different from them in the thinking process. So one of the more tough placements is also of Ketu in the 9th house. When Ketu gets into the 10th house, the 10th house is the house of your career, your work. Ketu detaches you or makes you slightly disinterested in the activities which are going around in the team. You may be somebody who is completely focused on the goals, on the work, on the targets, but you are not so well aware of what is the dynamics happening around you, what is the power play which is happening around you, who is the one who is in the driving seat, who is calling the shots, who is bad mouthing whom, how you are being manipulated. And so sometimes it even disconnects you from the superiors, from the authority figures on the organization, and seldom does Ketu allow good appreciation, good acknowledgement from the higher ups when it goes into the 10th house. And sometimes growth comes very late to you, and it comes slower than the other colleagues, and sometimes it gives you 2 or 3 breaks in the first few jobs before it gives you stability in the long run. So struggling to make it big, struggling to get acknowledgement from supervisors, struggling to have stability, and struggling to have good growth, and working really hard for stability later is what are the results, the tough results of Ketu in the 10th house. When Ketu goes into the 11th house, another one of the tough placements for Ketu, here Ketu will separate you from getting the success, getting the adulation, getting the support, getting the connection from the social network, from society, even from your friends, sometimes even from your elder sibling, or sometimes you may not have an elder sibling. Ketu may also make you a sort of an introvert here, where you get connected only to few people, or you feel connected to only few people, and your best of friends, or the people who you can rely on, you can count them on your fingers. The people who can be your 4 a.m. friends may not be even 1 or 2 sometimes. And usually you will find in your tough situations there are hardly anybody who's around. You have to really struggle to find somebody who can stand up for you, support you in your tough challenges. And this doesn't allow you, especially if you're working in a large organization, you tend to feel lost in the large organization, in the big strength that a large organization may have, and it's very difficult for you to grow in a large organization. And here in the 11th house, Ketu may attach you for even a social cause, a large social cause, but there is very less that you gain personally out of it. You may not get name, fame and adulation as somebody who's a big contributor, who works for a social cause, who stands for a social cause. And with Ketu in the 11th house, it's very difficult for you to get mass adulation, also mass support. And so very rarely will you have a very loved celebrity with Ketu in the 11th house. And sometimes even simple wishes and desires may also not come true. Ketu may make you struggle to achieve those wishes and desires. So one of the toughest placements of Ketu is also in the 11th house. So friends, now that we have discussed some of the toughest placements of Ketu in the different houses in the horoscope, you may also want to check my video where I have talked about the better placements or best placements of Ketu in the horoscope. So check where Ketu is placed in your horoscope, which house it is placed in, which sign it is placed in, because the sign will bring in its own flavor, the conjunctions will bring in their own flavor, the aspects on Ketu will also bring in their own flavors and make it slightly better deal for you, or maybe a tougher deal for you because of the dignity that Ketu is in the 12th house. So friends, like this video, share this video, and if you're looking for a personal consultation from me, please reach out to me at the link given below. Until some other time with some other video, this is your friend astrologer and guide Irfan signing off. Ciao.